A woman tries to discover what happened with her mom who disappeared years ago in the latest Paranormal Activity film. Let's talk about Next of Kin. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the seventh now Paranormal Activity film, Next of Kin. Welcome in to Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We're going to talk about Next of Kin. It's streaming right now on Paramount Plus. This is the first of the Paranormal Activity films not to get a theatrical release, but it was supposed to. Of course, this is another COVID casualty. And this is the first Paranormal Activity film in several years. 2015 was the most recent. That was Ghost Dimension, and that was supposed to be the final film, which, you know, look, at that point, it was really getting long in the tooth, this series. But in 2019, Paramount announced that, yes, we're going to be doing a seventh installment of the movie. Jason Blum and the franchise creator, Oren Peli, are going to be part of it. So they are producers here. But really, there are some COVID themes here. It didn't actually film until earlier this year. And I'm not sure when it was announced that it wasn't going to theaters, but originally it was going to be in like the spring of 2022. But I guess they figured, well, it's Halloween weekend. Let's put it up on Paramount Plus and, you know, see if we can get some eyeballs on it. But the critics have not been kind to this. I checked Rotten Tomatoes 3 different times today, and the score just keeps sliding further and further down. Latest check, it was 18% on the critic scale, and not that much better on the audience, about 43%, I think. But like a lot of the paranormal movies, this does not have a cast that you'll know. Emily Bader, Roland Buck III, Dan Lippert, these are not your A-star names, but that's okay. I mean, I think a lot of these movies actually work better if they do, especially the found footage ones, if they do have some, you know, no-name actors. Now, unlike the other 6, this one has no direct relation to any of the other Paranormal Activity movies. In fact, the only thing that really makes it a Paranormal Activity movie, I guess, is the found footage style. Not that Oren Peli even really created that, because, of course, you know, Blair Witch Project was the first one I remember that really utilized that, and that was years before. But in any event, it's what these movies are known for, and it does it again here. So essentially, this young woman, played by Emily Bader, is looking for her mother, who disappeared years ago, and it leads her to this Amish village, and, you know, that is where the Paranormal Activity takes place. However, there's not a lot of, I would say, paranormal stuff in this movie. Yes, towards the end we get some, and again, we're not going to do spoilers, so I'm not going to tell you exactly, you know, how that gets through to us, but it's more of just a general horror movie, and there's some creepy people for sure, but I don't think it's much more paranormal than a lot of other movies like this, you know, where you're sort of away from home and with some strangers. Like The Visit comes to mind, the M. Night Shyamalan movie. Like, I guess I would call that paranormal by the end of it, but, you know, really it's the found footage style, I think, that leads us into that world. And especially because this movie has no connection, like I said, with the other 6. So for me, the third Paranormal Activity is the peak. I think I've seen them all. I'm not positive if I saw 2, but I've seen 1 for sure, and I've seen 3 and all the ones that came later, because at that point I was working at a movie theater, and I watched, you know, pretty much everything that came out. So 3, I think, is the pinnacle of the series. It's one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. I loved it to pieces. And then I thought the first one was very good as well. But every one after that, I mean, hasn't even, like, been close. Like, the first and the third one are really great. If I did see the second one, I don't remember, so maybe it was okay. But the last few, like Ghost Dimension, the marked ones, I can't even remember what the other one was called, but just really kind of, you know, bottom of the barrel type horror. You know, I feel like I've put a lot of them in, like, the D+. Maybe I've even failed one of them in that kind of range, but this one, I will say, actually lies somewhere in the middle. You know, if I were reporting to Rotten Tomatoes, I suppose this technically would be a rotten score because anything under the 60% mark is considered rotten. And this is not quite up to that level. But a few things I liked about it before we get into the grade. I do think that these no-name actors here do a pretty good job and a convincing one. The screams are, pretty intense. And they don't seem forced in terms of the acting. It seems pretty natural. And the premise, I think, is decent. Now, I live about 40 minutes from a very, very heavy Amish population here in Pennsylvania. So I get it. I am aware of all of their sort of quirks and stuff. One of them is no cameras. They don't take film or video or pictures because it's a vanity thing, and that goes back way back from the invention of the camera, I guess. So right on, we meet these people, and the guys it's a documentary that we're filming. Please, can you let us film this? We're trying to reunite this girl with her relatives, find out what happened to her mother. Please let us film. My radar was like, all right, even for this exception, I don't think they would have done this, but all right, we'll sort of check our brains a little bit and accept our disbelief, and that's fine. But as it goes on, we learn more about this family, and less of it kind of makes sense, as you do in these films, because it's all sort of mysterious. And once we get those final 10 or 15 minutes, like usual, everything gets resolved, everything comes out, and what you're dealing with, and okay, fine. I think all of that came across fairly well, but in the grand scheme of things, this is only a Paranormal Activity film by name. Nothing else really leads us to believe that this is in any way, shape, or form part of that universe. But I will say that it's a little bit novel at this point to have a found footage movie. It was so popular for so long. I would say 2 out of every 3 horror movies for about 8 to 10 years were found footage. And so in that respect, we haven't had one in a while. So it was actually kind of refreshing in that regard. So I didn't hate that part. But in terms of the scares, there just weren't that many. There were a few sort of chilling moments. A couple of times I did freak a little bit about something that was going on. But it was, that part was a bit forced. The acting, not so much. I thought they were sort of natural up-and-coming actors. But the sort of shock and awe of some of those scenes, it's a little forced. But look, I didn't hate this movie. I think 18% is a little harsh on Rotten. But like I said, if I were giving my grades to Rotten, this technically would be a rotten grade because it's less than that 60% mark. I leave Paranormal Activity next of kin with a C. I think it's the best one that we've had probably in a while. I think it's probably the best one since that third one. 4, 5, and 6 were just real duds. I think this one's fine for what it is. You get in, you get out. You don't have to have seen any of the other ones since there's no relation, so that's not bad either. So, if you're looking for something frightening this Halloween weekend, you could probably do worse than this one. So check it out if you have Paramount Plus. And that will do it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.